The president is responding for the first time after the nation's top intel chiefs contradicted him on major global threats like ISIS, like North Korea. While he is digging in, President Trump also appears to be contradicting himself. Okay, look at this. This is part of a tweet from December of last year. He wrote, quote, "We have defeated ISIS in Syria." This morning, though, the president did not go that far. He wrote, quote, "Caliphate will soon be destroyed."
That's different. And on North Korea, in June 2018, the president tweeted this just after his summit with Kim: "There is no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea." Compare that to this morning when he wrote, "Time will tell what will happen with North Korea." Went on to say there is a decent chance of denuclearization, quite different from saying there is no longer a threat. Here to discuss, CNN Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr and Max Boot, CNN global affairs analyst and senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. Listen, folks, this is not the first time the president has done this. He's done it from the very beginning, taken his own view of the world over that of the intelligence agencies and intelligence chiefs that he appointed. Barbara Starr, you walk the halls of the Pentagon. You speak to officials there. What is the reaction there when officials see the president deny, in effect, what they're telling him, for instance, about ISIS still being present in Syria?
ISIS, North Korea, and the latest this morning, as you guys said a couple of seconds ago, the president going after intelligence community leaders full bore, saying that they are extremely passive and naive when it comes to Iran. They are wrong. If the president of the United States believes his intelligence community is passive, naive, and wrong, one of the questions is, why does he keep them? Should he be firing all of them? Remember, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis resigned, did not get fired, as the president said, resigned because he felt he wasn't being listened to. And that's the fundamental question here. Or is the intelligence community even being listened to by the president? And can they continue on when they see this kind of language from him? I think it is very fair to say the intelligence community actually watches Iran very closely around the clock and pretty much knows everything that they are up to, especially their new weapons, their missile testing, their activities inside of Syria, the militias that they are backing, Hezbollah, the threat that they pose to Israel. One could go on and on, including their nuclear program. On the question of ISIS, you see that fundamental shift, that fundamental contradiction. What the intelligence community is saying is something very precise, which is, this is not a win or lose. ISIS has still, according to the Director of National Intelligence, has thousands of fighters out there, while the president is saying the caliphate is disappearing, that we are winning against the caliphate. I think what the intelligence community is trying to communicate to the president, there's no win or lose. You have to keep working at all of these problems.
Yeah. And Max, to you, you have a new opinion piece out about all of this. Let's just step back for a moment and just listen to some of the stark contrasts. The president and Director of National Intelligence, Dan Coates. Here you go.
We have won against ISIS.
ISIS is intent on resurging.
And we're well on our way. We signed an agreement.
North Korea will seek to retain its WMD capabilities.
It's not just, Max, that they're contradicting one another and that the president doesn't believe his own intel community and calls them naive, etc. This is as he heads into a second summit with Kim Jong-un. I just wonder the actual risk of that.
Well, there's a huge risk. This is the most powerful person in the world, Poppy, and he is not listening to his own intelligence community. And who knows who he's listening to? Probably Fox and Friends or Vladimir Putin or some other source of information. And the fact is that he is not acting on the best information available. Now, I had a little bit of hope this morning seeing some of the earlier tweets where he was implicitly conceding that, yes, Kim Jong-un has not actually denuclearized. ISIS has not actually been defeated. So I thought, hallelujah, welcome to the world of rationality. This is finally something fact-based in President Trump's Twitter feed. But of course, then a few minutes later, he had to go and blow it by attacking the intelligence community assessment that Iran is not actually at the moment developing nuclear weapons. And what he wrote was that the intelligence people seem to be extremely passive and naive. And I just had to laugh at that. This is from a president who has said that he is in love with Kim Jong-un, one of the world's most vicious dictators, and who has taken the word of Vladimir Putin that he did not hack the Democratic Party in 2016. So this is the president who's accusing the intelligence community of being passive and naive. I mean, that's a joke. The president is really living in this alternative universe where he believes what he wants to believe and he doesn't care about the facts.
Here's the thing, these decisions are not just tweets, they're making policy, right? The president's view of ISIS in Syria has led him to withdraw troops from Syria. Right. Barbara, I wonder, because Mitch McConnell, this is very unusual for him, is publicly disagreeing with the president on Syria, saying the U.S. troops need to stay there. From your perch at the Pentagon, is there any sign that that withdrawal of troops is changing at this point?
Well, I think it is fair to say the Pentagon would like to take a more nuanced approach, a more analytical approach. Basically, you know, it's not so simple as slow it down, but they want to take this piece by piece and do everything they can to minimize risk. Because I think that one of the common threads we're going to see in all of these scenarios, in all of these geographic areas, as the President of the United States makes foreign policy and security policy by tweet, America's adversaries watch that and they calculate their next moves. And right now, ISIS, the Taliban, the Iranians, the Syrians, are they calculating, the North Koreans, are they calculating that maybe all they have to do is wait Trump out? He seems pretty amenable to all of them. Maybe they just wait him out. It's a real concern.
Yep, no question. And based on experience, right, the tweets seem to try policy more than Mitch McConnell or the intelligence agencies.